Boxing King Media, powered by BYD, Mr. Jamie Moore. You've seen so much in the boxing game in regards to venues. We're at the Co-op Live Arena, I think it's called. What do you make of it?
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's really nice. The arena looks unbelievable. I've just been out there and I've looked now, and yeah, it smells new. You got that new smell. So looking forward to being a part of such a big event. With the first boxing event live here, it's going to be great to be part of.
I'm not sure how long that new smell's going to last for, though.
No, it's Manchester, and there's been quite a few concerts on the bounce already. Seen quite a few Liam Gallagher videos going about of the last few days, so I'm sure we'll get rid of that smell soon.
We definitely will. One of the things I was going to say, and I remember when Jack signed with Eddie, here she is, little Miss Catterall. When Jack signed with Eddie, what does it say?
It's not. She's pulling my tongue, so it doesn't really. It usually say like "I love you" or something. It's like pulling a tongue at me. So it's absolutely
Sound. Eddie promised to keep Jack active, and I was looking through yesterday, and to be fair to him, 15 months, 4 fights.
Absolutely, and that's all we've ever wanted for Jack is sort of consistency and progression. All fighters are better when they're active, and part of the problem with Jack over the last few years, not for anybody's reason at all, it's just a bad luck where he's been sort of a staggered career, so to speak, and boxed once every 12 months for about 3 years on the trot. And for a fighter like Jack, it's just not ideal because his style's based on timing, judgment of distance, and sometimes if you don't keep that active, it can start going. And certainly by the time you get into 30, 32, 33, and Jack, the only reason Jack's been able to keep performing the way he has is because of his consistency and his commitment to the game. He's I've said it loads of times. He's the most dedicated athlete I've ever come across, and that's the reason why he's reaping the rewards now. He stayed in the gym even when there was no fights coming up, and now you're seeing what consistency can do for him. And this is by no means an easy fight, but he wanted and he deserves a world title shot after the Josh Taylor win. For whatever reason, that's not available. And instead of having just a tread the water type of fight, he's having a proper, a real fight, which in all honesty is a lot of risk with not a lot of reward. But he wants to be fighting people like this because he wants to be in the game to fight the best and beat the best.
Indeed, and it doesn't get any better than Regis Prograis. One of the things I was looking at the records, they've got a couple of common opponents, Tyrone McKenna and Josh Taylor. You will have watched all them fights. What do you kind of take from comparisons in them two fights? Because obviously he knocked out Tyrone with quite a devastating knockout. Jack nearly stopped him, but ended up being a close fight. And then obviously he took his L against Josh, and Jack obviously got the revenge.
Yeah, listen, you can look into or compare people's performances against people all day long, but styles make fights, and one thing I've always been confident of is Jack Catterall is good enough to beat any 140 fighter in the world, and I still believe that. And this, people have been saying, it's a risky fight, this, and it's not. I don't want people to look at this and think you're taking your eye off the ball or you're overlooking Prograis. That's not the case. It's more of the confidence we've got in Jack to be able to do a job, and the credit what he'll get afterwards. He's like, you know what, you took, it was quite a risk. We knew it was going to be a difficult fight, but afterwards people are going to see Jack's performance and go, wow. People was sort of looking at Taylor maybe thinking, is he on the slide? The Josh Taylor fight for me was one of his best performances in the last 3 or 4 years, and Jack still beat him. And this is going to be the type of performance where it's like a coming out party, and they go, he is as good as people sort of thought or hoped he would be.
What are you expecting? Are you expecting some sort of tactical fight, or are you guys going in there to try and do a better job than Devin Haney? Because when I say a better job, it might be merely impossible, because I think the stats were saying that it was a record in punches landed on a fight. I think it was the least amount of shots ever landed on a fighter. How do you kind of better that, or is it styles make fights?
Well, 100%. I've said for Jack, he's a hybrid. He sort of adapts to whatever situation comes in front of him, and I firmly believe that whatever Regis brings, Jack's got the answer for it. So and again, we're not by no means overlooking him, but I've watched PROGRAIS fight Josh Taylor God knows how many times, because we prepared about 5 times for Josh Taylor, even though they only boxed twice, and that fight was really close. Could have gone either way. Yeah, unbelievable fight. You know, you got to take your half to both guys. But what was that? Was like 4 or 5 years ago now. And even though PROGRAIS can still do it, Jack's a lot fresher in terms of miles on the clock, and he's coming into his peak. He really is. And even the last fight, you know, Josh was good enough and still had enough left in those sort of middle rounds to push Jack so hard, harder than anybody's ever been able to push him before. And Jack came through it, learned the lessons in the fight, which shows that he's still improving, and then came through it and still won. So he's going to take those into this fight, take the lessons on board, improve from it, and you're gonna see an even better version of Jack.
Indeed, we'll look forward to it. Should be a great fight on, what's the date?
24th of August.
24th of August, yep, right in the middle of school holidays. Brilliant. Just a couple of other topics I've got to speak to you about. I don't think I've spoken to you since you've took over training Prince Nassim Hamed's sons. You're going to be training Sammy, who's going to be in the misfit scene, and then you've got Adam Hamed in the pro game. Just tell me how that experience has been, and the fact that you've been trusted to take on Naz's sons, because it's quite a big responsibility.
Of course it is, and it's an honour to do it. You know, Naz, I was such a huge fan of Naz when he was on the scene, and you know, so to have the privilege of looking after his lads is a blessing. You know, I've had a few conversations with him, and no, not just the lads, but every single fighter I train, I treat him like I was training my own son or daughter, and that'll certainly be the case with them. And you know, considering they had no amateur background whatsoever, they're much better than people will anticipate them to be, and they've obviously got good genetics. You know, they can both punch, and it's just about getting experience now and progressing them, you know, at the pace what we need to do to make sure that they get the lessons on board along the way, and then as we sort of navigate the career and get to different points, we'll sort of let them off the leash as and when we feel like they're ready.
How do you feel in regards to the like I obviously know the kids, both of them personally, so I know they're quite good at dealing with negativity, and unfortunately, because of the name, that's going to come. People are going to judge them on like how their footwork is, if they threw a lazy jab, oh, this ain't right. Everything that they do is going to be scrutinized, even how they are in the public eye. How do you think all that will be much of a factor?
Will it be a factor? I don't know. We'll have to sort of cross that bridge when we come to it. But I'll certainly be telling him or trying to teach him the things like not to sort of listen to other people, don't take on board criticism. You know, in all honesty, they're probably their own worst critics anyway. And that for me, my experience has been of fighters. The ones who criticise themselves the most are the ones who work hardest and try and better themselves. So that's a good trait to have. But you know, I've spoke about this in the past about Campbell Hatton. You know, it's so unfair, even though it's human nature, to compare or to try and compare people's siblings, not siblings, sort of their offspring, to, you know, the parents, because Ricky Hatton, Prince Nazim Ahmed, absolute legends of the sport and sort of once in a generation type fighters. So to expect the same of the sons is really not fair. Even though I understand its nature, you look at them and you want them to be like the sons, the dads, because you enjoyed their career so much. But for different reasons, I think you'll enjoy their careers because they're both exciting to watch. They're both punchers, and they both got a bit of charisma. They've got a little bit of the dad rubbed off on them anyway, which is natural. But you know, to try and put that sort of spotlight on them and expect them to be as good as the dad is sort of massive shoes to fill. And I've been saying to them all the time, I don't expect you to be your dad. I expect you to be yourself, and we'll try and get the best out of you as an individual.
So I think beautifully put that. Last couple of things I want to ask you about, Jamie. Obviously, your fighter Akib Fiaz was supposed to fight at the Genting Arena a few weeks ago. There's not a lot of information that's been released other than obviously his opponent Kane Baker put some stuff out on social media. What can you tell us from your point of view? What went wrong? If there is anything you can say.
Well, obviously there's an investigation going on, so there's not a lot I can say. The only thing I can say is the stuff surrounding it, what was going on, is something that I don't agree with, and I would never be a part of. And as soon as I found out about it, I brought it to the attention of the people who needed to be, matchroom and stuff, and the fight was pulled straight away. So depending on what leads with the investigation will depend on what we do moving forward as a team. But it's certainly not something what we agree with.
Only one question I've got you on that is because obviously you can imagine when people don't know, they assume and they make up rumours. But are both fighters in this? I'm just reading through what Kane Baker put on socials. Are both fighters kind of innocent parties in this?
Listen, that's not. I can't say that with any conviction. So that's why it's. I don't know how this is going to go moving forward, but if it ends up moving into a legal proceeding, then I can't say stuff just in case you end up saying stuff what you end up being implicated with. But the topic what's surrounding it is certainly something what I don't agree with, and I distance myself from, because this, the integrity of the sport is what's most important to me. I spoke about it loads of times in the past in terms of the scoring and stuff like that, and whichever topic it is regarding integrity, it doesn't matter. It's all tied with the same brush for me, and it's certainly not something what I'd be involved in.
Jamie Moore, respect your thoughts on that. Anything else you want to say before I let you go?
Not really. I'm just looking forward to Jack topping the bill here and making a bit of history. Being a local lad from Manchester and having the privilege to be part of the first boxing event in this arena is just a great bit of history for me, and I can't wait for it now.
Jamie Moore, that was a pleasure. Thank you very much.